Dear student, myself Rajendra Aaseri, I am Assistant Professor in Computer Science Department at Government Bangat PG College, Didwana. We have discussed various concepts about database and management system. In the just previous lecture, we discussed about tuple relational calculus and domain relational calculus. After that, we started a new concept that is ER diagram, entity relationship diagram. In ER diagram, we discussed about various notations. So I am just reminding all those concepts of ER diagram, and then further new concept will be started in this lecture. So in ER diagram, we used various concepts, various basics. First is entity. In order to represent a entity, we require a symbol rectangle. Similarly, in order to represent relationship between two entity, we require diamond, a symbol diamond. Similarly, for the attribute ellipse are used. In ellipse, there are various variation. Like if we are using double ellipse, double lined ellipse, then it is for the multi-valued attribute. If we are using dashed attribute, if we are having a attribute which is derived from some basic attribute, then we are using what, dashed, DASHED, dashed ellipse, right? And so on. Now in today's lecture, some new concept about the ER diagram and some design issues. So starting with role. Every entity set of a relationship need not be distinct, right? There can be duplicacy also. Again, I'm putting this concept. Entity set of a relationship need not to be distinct. What does it mean? Suppose in this example, we are taking a marker. If you see, there is one relationship works for and one entity set, that is employee. Employee is the entity set. This employee is having some attribute. First attribute is employee ID and it is underlined, it means it is primary key, right? Next attribute is employee name, which is non-key attribute. Next is employee street. Next, employee city, telephone number. Okay, now the relationship name is works for. Works for is the name of the relationship. Okay, now if you see the relationship between the employee and this relationship set is employee is worker of works for relationship set, and works for is having a relationship with employee is manager. Okay, so we can say that it is a unary relationship. Why unary? Because it contain only one entity set. Okay, so if you see the labels manager and worker are called roles. Manager and workers are called as role because they are performing, same person can perform different role depending upon the entity or relationship set, right? So they specify how employee entity interact via the works for relationship set. Okay, means employee is related with works for in worker manner. Similarly, works for is related in relationship with employee as manager. Okay, now roles are indicated in ER diagram by labeling the lines that connect diamond to the rectangle. So these are the roles. If you see, these lines are called as the roles, and on the lines we are writing the name of the roles, right? So there are two roles. From employee to works for is worker, and from works for to employee is manager role, right? Role labels are optional and are used to clarify semantic of the relationship. Means if relationship is two directional, then in order to clarify the semantic, the meaning of the relationship, we need to write down the roles, right? Okay, cardinality constraint. Cardinality constraint already we discussed in the previous lecture. In cardinality constraint, there are four variation: one to one, one to many, many to one, and many to many. Right? Now, if we want to represent the cardinality constraint in ER diagram, then we have to use some notation or some symbol. So we express cardinality constraint by drawing either a directed line which signify 1, or we can just put undirected line which will signify many between the relationship set and the entity set. Means between the relationship set and entity set we can put a arrow line. If we are putting arrow line, it indicate the 1, and if we put between relationship set and entity set undirected line, then it will indicate the we can say many relationship, right? So step by step we will be using all the mapping cardinality, and how to use or how to put note in notation form in ER diagram, all of them one by one. So first is one to one relationship, right? Suppose example, a customer is associated with at most one loan via the relationship borrower. One customer and one loan entry, it is one to one relation. So a loan is associated with at most one customer via borrower, means from A to B one and from B to A one, it means it is one to one relationship. And how to write down this in ER diagram? See, next is, so we will be discussing this. If one to one, then here we need to write down customer. This is okay. In this manner, we need to indicate this one and this one. This is means customer is related to borrower in one to one manner. Similarly, loan is related to borrower in one to one manner, right? So this was from the one to one relationship. Now next is one to many. One to many, as the name implies, in one to many relationship, a loan is associated with at most one customer via borrower, and a customer is associated with several means it can include zero or many loans via borrower. So if you see, between customer and borrower, it is arrow means one, and between borrower and loan, there is undirected line, it means it is many. So it is one to many relationship. And in customer ID is primary key, customer name, customer city, and customer street are non-key attribute. Similarly, in loan, there are two attribute: loan number primary key and amount is non-primary key. Okay, so between customer and loan, the relationship is one to many. Okay, next, many to one relationship. In many to one relationship, there are we can say from the first entity set, they for more than one entity are associated with in the one second entity set, that is another entity set, only one entity. So many entity from entity set A are linked with one entity of another entity set B, right? In this example, suppose first entity set is customer and another entity set is loan. So if you see the notation between customer and borrower, customer entity and borrower relationship, it is undirected, it means it denote the many. And between borrower relationship and loan entity, it is arrow, it means it is one. So the relationship says many to one, means more than one customer can share the same loan. Okay, so in a many to one relationship, a loan is associated with single loan is associated with several, which can include zero customer via the borrower relationship, right? A customer is associated with at most one loan via the borrower. Clear to all of you? So this is many to one relationship. Now next is many to many relationship. In many to many relationship, in this example, customer entity, loan entity, and in between the relationship is borrower. If you see between customer and borrower, single line is there, undirected line, it means it is many relationship between customer and borrower. Next is loan and borrower, and again undirected line, it means again it is many relationship between loan and borrower. So we can say in definition, A customer is associated with several, it can be possibly zero, several loans via the borrower relation. Customer associated with several loan, loan, okay, using the borrower relationship. Similarly, a loan is associated with several, possibly zero customer via the borrower. Clear? So if you see customer id primary key, and in loan number is primary key, but many customer can be related to loan via borrower, and many loan can be associated to a single customer via borrower relationship. So these are the relationship which are the combination of one to many and many to one relationship. Next is participation of an entity set in a relationship. So we are saying that in a relationship there can include one entity, it is unary relationship. If there include two entity, it is binary relationship. If there include three entities, it is ternary relationship. So now we are discussing about participation. Means we are discussing that the entities are associated with help of a relationship, but they are totally participated or partially participated. They are participating totally or partially. So what is meaning of this? You will come to know with help of this example. So total participation, which is indicated by a double line. So if you see in this example, there is double line between borrower relation and loan relation. The lines are double. It means there is total participation of loan entity in borrower relationship. Okay, every total participation means every entity in the loan entity set participate in at least one relationship in the relationship set. Okay, means there is no possibility where any entity from loan relation is not participating with at least one relationship set borrower. Okay. Example, participation of loan in borrower is total. In this example, participation of loan entity set is total in this borrower relations. Means every loan must have a customer associated to it via borrower, right? Next is partial participation. Partial participation means some entity may not participate in any relationship in the relationship set. Some entity are not participating in the relationship. It means it is a partial participation of that entity in the corresponding relationship. So ER diagram with a ternary relationship. Ternary relationship means they should include minimum or exact one relationship, but exact three entities are required. So if you see in this example, first entity is employee, second entity is job, and third entity is branch. So total three entities are participating, and the relationship name is works on. That's why it is ternary relationship, right? Now, first entity employee. Employee is having employee ID as primary key, employee name, employee street, employee city, and telephone number. These are non-key attribute. Now, employee is in relationship with branch, and the relationship name is works on. Every employee works on a particular branch which are having some attribute. Branch name, primary key, branch city, and asset are non-key attribute. Now, third entity is job. Job is having a relationship between with branch with help of relationship works on. Job can have a relationship between employee and itself with help of relationship works on, right? And job is having some property, some attribute. Title is the primary key of job, and label is the non-key attribute of job. So if you see in works on, three entities are there: employee, job, and branch are participating. That's why it is ternary relationship. Cardinality constraint on ternary relationship. We allow at most one arrow out of a ternary or greater degree relationship to indicate a cardinality constraint. Example, an arrow from works on to job indicate each employee works on at most one job at any branch. So we are just indicating only one. If there are more than one arrow, there are two types of defining the meaning. Ternary relationship are between A, B and C with arrows to B and C could mean that each entity of A is associated with a unique entity from B and C. Or second possibility, each pair of entity from A, B is associated with a unique entity in C. And each pair of AC is associated with a unique entity of B. Okay, so it is the statements are self-explanatory. No need to explain further. Each alternative has been used in different formalism. To avoid the confusion, we outflow more than one arrow. Very good. So that's all from this lecture. In next lecture, some more exciting concept about the DVMS. Thanks.